good. We got a lot of different awards and things to pass out, and a whole goblet of thank yous to go through here. So the first thing I want to do, okay, is to have our assistant coaches stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Kyle, make sure you're standing up there. All right, these guys and Vince helped us out this year as well too. Was not able to be here. These guys were awesome. All throughout the year, did a ton of different things to help out the kids on a variety of different levels. On the field things, off the field things, leadership things. It definitely takes a village, with all these guys and to all these different things. I couldn't be more proud of this group of men for what they, continue to sacrifice through this. The other thing I'll say is this, and my wife's sitting here, and all of their wives, whether they're here or not, okay, it's quite a sacrifice for our families to be able to, spend the time that we do away from our kids. Although sometimes that's a good deal, but away from our kids, and we enjoy it. I think you'll ask these guys here, what's the best part of their day? A lot of times it's working with your sons, and I know that might not be something that maybe you think is ever possible, but I can speak wholeheartedly, this was a very enjoyable group to be around. I'm forever grateful for these guys and what they provide for us as a staff. Let's give them a big round of applause. All of you guys that are football players, stand up. You don't have to go anywhere, just stand up. Okay? Alright. A lot of guys here. Okay? And without stating the obvious, okay, you guys owe a lot to your parents, okay, for making you where you are today, for helping you out in a bazillion different things throughout your life, for being as supportive of they are as they are of you. And from us as a staff to the guys, we couldn't be more thankful to have a group of parents that support no matter what, the good and the bad. We had a little bit of both this year. To be there to provide meals, to just be there being supportive, to all the other things that go into making Meepo football what it is. So let's give the parents a huge round of applause. If you haven't done, you don't need to do it now, but if you haven't done so already, it would be nice to thank your parents, okay? It could be about football, maybe it could be about something completely else. Thank your parents for what they've done for you and for allowing you, all of you that are standing up, okay, to be where you are today. All right, you guys can now sit down. There'll be a lot of standing and sitting, so get used to it. Here we go. I got to give a shout out to our school administration, Roger and John, Adam, Dave, Aaron, Steffner, and Kelsey Steffner. Those guys did a ton behind the scenes, especially on football Friday nights to help me with my sanity, to help make sure we got teams actually showing up and going to the right spots. Their support has been outstanding. To Dennis and Bill Brown, who are probably on their 50th year of doing stats. They're there every day. They got lots of good stories about things. They got their own thoughts on things that they like to add to. You can't read Dennis's writing worth anything, but those guys volunteer their time to come and do that, and it's a great help for me personally. The people from Jet Physical Therapy, we had Matt, Emily, and Eric were our primary trainers this year. In July, we were without any trainers, and they picked us up even though they were full, and provided services for us throughout the year. It was real beneficial. Obviously, we owe them a lot. I'd like to say a thank you to our band. Ryan and Lydia and the band people, and Corey and the kids that sang the national anthem in the playoff games. I know they're not here, but man, they did a great job throughout the season. Sherry and the cheerleaders, also wonderful job. I'd like to thank Scott Wunderlich for filming right now and throughout the year. Melanie, why don't you stand up for a second? Absolutely, we are so blessed for the pictures that she takes. You go back and look from the pictures from the beginning to the end, it captures what's going on in the game in a way that is, hard to describe. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and it's just such a great job of capturing the moment, making sure every kid is out there, all sorts of fun things, weird things. This group of high school boys, so you get a little bit of everything. Just a phenomenal job with that. Also like to thank Billy for the posters and for doing the team picture. Our chain gang guys, I know they're not here, but Jake, Tim, Toby, Nate, Heath, Todd Phillips. There's a whole gobble of other people that helped out, especially with JV games, varsity games. There's a lot that goes into making a football game happen. They did a wonderful job with that. All the referees we had, if you do see any of the guys on chain gang, we had multiple crews this year say, your chain gang, we recommend them for, they'll allow chain gangs to go up to the dome and do different things. Those guys are amazing at what they do. The people in the press box, Mike T, Aaron, Lane, Amanda, Cade, also helped tremendously throughout the year. Our bus drivers, Tom and Roger, Trisha, Patty, the ones that helped us out and got us where we need to go. We talked previously, it takes a village to do all these different things, and everybody that we've kind of talked about really played a critical role in all that, what this football season was about. Most importantly, thank you to the players for making it an enjoyable season. We'll talk more as we get going later on. Without further ado, Coach Martin, do the JV recap.
I'll just stay right here. JV squad was 6-2 this year. A couple notes I jotted down here is I think this group worked real hard to get better every week, and you can see that from the start of the year till week 8. Highlighting the year, I thought we had 3 shutouts. It was Columbus, West Bend, Notre Dame, and Davis County. I kind of broke it down a little bit, and by quarter, we shut out our opponents in the first quarter. We beat them 46-0 in the first quarter throughout the year. So that's something I don't think I've ever had before. That's pretty cool. Other highlights that I thought, we ran the ball pretty well. We ran for over 1,000 yards as a team, averaged 5.2 carry. Defensively, our opponents had 201 carries in football for 180 yards. Now, I'm not good at math, I'm a history teacher, but that turns out to 0.9. The opponent's offense averaged 0.9 yards a carry. That's outstanding. That's the best I've ever seen at a JV level. That's really neat. We had 9 different guys carry the ball. We had 9 different guys catch the ball, 2 different guys throw it, 10 different guys score. And I think probably our best games of the year, as far as most exciting anyway, I think the Signature Field game stands out. The kids played really well and came back in the second half and beat a pretty good football team. Other than the 3 shutouts, and every game was good. I think there was a couple games where 2 losses, we didn't play as well. But I think we competed, and and that's the most important thing. We're trying to get better. And the last thing here, so I can keep going here, is, you know, this was a total team group. As you saw, 9 guys carrying the ball, 9 guys catching it, 2 guys throwing, 10 scoring. Almost every guy on the team got a tackle at one time or another. So I thought this was one of the best team groups. I've been around a long time, and I've been doing this. I think this is year 30. So it's a really good. It was a really good group to work with. They're fun. I look for good things to happen in the future. So
let's give those guys a round of applause. All right, we'll keep this. Yeah, and I'll echo what Coach Martin said about the JV guys. You know, we ask of our JV players to learn what we're doing and compete and have fun and get better. And they did that undoubtedly throughout the season. If you look at it from beginning of the year to the end of the year, you know, we were playing at a pretty high level. And, you know, for those JV guys, and we'll kind of talk about this here in a second, but, you know, where you left the season at, where you show up again next year at, that to be better than where you were at the end of the year, that's going to be the trick. And we're excited to see, you know, what can kind of happen there. Varsity guys, I'm not going to, we'll kind of get this when we get individual, when we get to our individual awards. One of the 2 things that I would say about you guys as a whole, without getting really into the weeds individually, this group was one of the more competitive groups we've had in a long, long time. As parents, you'd probably be like maybe a little bit taken back by all the chatter that happened during practice. We were lucky enough this year to have a lot of guys playing, and it was super competitive. And the amount of crap that was being talked back and forth between the different groups helped make practice go fast. It also helped make practice go well. And you'd be surprised at who were some of the biggest talkers. We'll get to that later. But you know, it made it really fun. I think with this group, though, I think this was a real stubborn group. And stubborn in a good way. Stubborn that if you told this group they weren't going to do something, they were going to try to prove you wrong. Individually or as a team. We talked about it at the end of the year. We talked about it, you know, like, listen, I don't know what everybody else's expectations were for Mediapolis football this year for the varsity team, but we were really, you know, oh, you graduated a great group in the year before, and who knows what you're going to get. This group showed up ready to work, and they didn't really care what anybody else had to say about them. They didn't really care about whether or not people thought that they were not going to be as good as what the last year's group was. It didn't really matter. They worked hard. They were stubborn. They continued to fight and fight and fight and fight and fight all year long. And, you know, we really came a long way with that. A very coachable group, a group that was willing to listen, but also a group that was willing to provide feedback. And I think as coaches, we really appreciate it as you're able to talk to these young men and say, what do you think? And they would give ideas. Some would make sense. Some didn't make any sense. We're still waiting on Kyle's 2-point play that he had drawn up that he saw in Madden that would work. The play would take 33 seconds to develop. But, you know, it was a great, it looked great on paper. But no, the contributions that these guys made on a day, you know, everybody sees the football games on Friday nights. But nobody sees this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They don't see the talks that we have. They don't see the, you know, getting together like, hey, what do you guys want to do? How do you want to attack this? And the feedback that we got from this group was awesome. And it helped make them really what they were and really helped with their success. I think ultimately, though, if you look at a group of young men, whether it's our 9th graders, 10th, 11th, 12th graders, this group improved tremendously throughout the year. That speaks to the hard work of them. It speaks to their coaches. It speaks to this collective effort of we wanted to keep trying to get better, and we're happy with where we're at. And undoubtedly, we played our best football of the year at the end of the year. And I think that because that happened not by chance, but we trust the process. You know, Kirk Ferentz after the Iowa game the other day, I'm going to butcher this, but after the Iowa game the other day was talking about their quarterback who hasn't really been able to throw it all year. Mentioned something about like, you know, football players aren't microwave ready. You can't just pop them in the microwave and then it's done. It may take a while to grow and develop. And man, I thought that is this season true and true. I challenge you, go back and watch the film of some of the first two games and you want to like put your head in the sand, like what in the world was happening out there? But these guys continue to work and get better, and they deserve, you know, really all the credit in the world for doing that. You know, to our returning guys, we'll pull the seniors up here and talk about them in a second. For the returning guys, it's really quite simple. I don't care if you're a junior, a freshman, or a sophomore in between. Okay, the goals are the goals. Okay, the goals, like we were district champions this year. Our goal is to be district champions next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. Now, how do you get there? Well, you got to work at it. You guys know this, and so we want to try to talk about like how do you get there. We're not going to go too in the weeds on that, but I think it's important to compete for all that we're doing. Okay, and for you guys in particular, compete, be the best student you can be the best athlete you can be. Okay, it's as simple as that. Work hard in whatever you're doing. Okay, work hard in whatever you're doing to be the best that you can be. Be the best student, be the best athlete, be the best teammate, be the best leader, whatever it might be. You have good examples for you guys returning. You have good examples to look at and say, look at what those 11 seniors did this year. Okay, they provided a good roadmap for what you need to do going forward. Okay, and everybody's different. Leadership styles are all different. Find yours, compete, and be the best that you can be. Okay, if we do that, good things will happen. And these seniors will all kind of attest to this. Time's going to fly by. Okay, you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, bang, you're done. Okay, it doesn't stop for you. You can't have a 10-year high school career. Hopefully not. But it's going to go by fast, right? It's going to go by fast, so make the most of all your opportunities. And be really the best of you that you can be. Nobody's asking you to be anything besides you, but do it to your best of your abilities. I'm really excited to see where this group can go going forward. All right? We are going to move on. And I need all of you, okay, to come line up. And let's do this in line up numerically. Okay, see if we can remember this. Line up numerically. We'll start with Reese down at this end and move down that way. that were passed out there. We have got, so everyone received an award for district champion from the state. Everybody received an award for state playoff qualifier. Everybody received an award for a distinguished academic excellence award as a team. So all of these guys contributed in the first quarter to a combined 3.28 GPA. So let's give these guys a round of applause. They also received a state medal. The state only sends out 44 of them. I have extra medals. If you did not receive a medal, come to Coach Pearson's office tomorrow. They are all up there, extra ones that we have. These guys obviously, as a whole crew here, outstanding job on the field, outstanding job in the classroom. Let's give them one more big round of applause. Go ahead and sit down, folks. Good job lining up. DeLang, Glendenning, Nathan Schmidt, Goal, Holstein, Johnson, Peyton Johnson and Parker Lang. Come on up. Underclassmen, leather winners for the year. This guy talks about them real quick. Parker was primarily a fresh off player, also was on our kickoff return team throughout the last half of the season. Did a great job on that, had a really good season, fresh soft wise. Joey played nose tackle, and Joey had quite the challenge playing nose tackle because a lot of teams we face had big old fat centers. And so Joey not the biggest guy in the world, but he ended up battling and was in there fighting and doing a lot of things for us. Nathan also played a few games. He played varsity as an outside linebacker. He was also in on kickoff return teams towards the end of the year. Really had a good season for a sophomore. Also had a really good season, in doing the different things on the varsity level. Brayton played safety about halfway through the season on the varsity level. Really kind of thrown in there, did a nice job. Made a lot of plays. It really kind of helped us out team-wise in a lot of different areas. Also on a bunch of special teams. Peyton was kind of in the same role as on a lot of the special teams at the end of the year on kickoff and kickoff return team. Had a really good, had a really good JV season as well. And then last but not least, Parker down there. Parker started on the offensive line the entire year. Played center and guard. Settled in at center. Really did a nice job throughout the season. Got better and better and better as the year went on with a lot of different things. So let's give these young guys a round of applause. All right, our juniors. Okay, really fun group of guys to work with here. As a whole, okay, really expecting a lot of good things to come out of this group. They had a lot of good things throughout the season. We'll start with Reese. Reese played corner, and we really did a nice job at corner throughout the year. Reese is a funny cat. In a lot lot of different ways. My favorite recent memory of the whole year, though, was at the West Burlington game. So things kind of got out of hand there, and the way quarter limitations go, all the guys that played in the JV game couldn't play until the fourth quarter, and things were kind of chippy, and Reese couldn't move at all that game. His hip was out of whack or something like that, and he was like, hey, Morrison, I can't go in, I really can't run. I'm like, you're all good, just stand there. And he just stood there and just flipped both ways the entire game in there. I thought, man, this is the guy that he was like, I'll go out and do it. I'm like, I promise you we're not going to make you run. Just stand there and catch the ball and flip it and be good with it. He did an outstanding job really all year, all throughout the year. Give him a ton of props for stepping up and doing that. Lance played receiver, defensive back, kick returner. This is Lance's first year playing football. Okay, first year playing football. I'll give Lance a ton of credit, man. He really had no idea what was going on. Started the year and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But he asked a million good questions and asked. And I think you could really start to see the light bulb go off after a couple of weeks. Like, man, this guy, he's obviously a very good athlete, was able to help out in a bunch of different ways. Also, just a real team-first type of guy. He had a lot of questions and asked, and did a wonderful job with that. He had a good year for it's not easy just coming out from football your junior year and figuring out what it's going to be like, but I thought he provided a lot to our team. Connor played wide receiver and defensive back. What cracks me up about Connor, and this is more with Connor and Quentin together, the amount of victory that happens between those two was common. And Connor would sit there and run and he'd walk by Quentin, say something, back at each other. And I can only imagine what it's like at home. But Connor did a great job. Was a really important member of our scout teams. And is also on our kickoff return teams. Did a really nice job there. Max started at linebacker for the entire season. Max was undersized by a lot of regards, and I just found out that he had made pickle videos. TikTok famous. So yeah, maybe we'll give him later. Max did a great job. Really stepped in. We were a little bit, as coach didn't know how Max would do. It was a kind of a step up. He played his tail off, made a bunch of different plays, in on a lot of different tackles for loss and those things. Had a really nice year on the defense side of football. Brady played some mostly tight end, did a little bit of kicking here and there, mostly in practice. But Brady had a really nice shot, caught some big passes in a variety of different games. Was a good blocker out on the perimeter. Really was a team first guy. He was definitely part of we had this scout team offense, kind of like we were like a fist over there. And Brady would get going, and then he'd be so like, oh, we got to run another pass route. Like, I'm going to go tap out for a second and bring somebody else in there. And him and Chet had a good rotation when it came to that. Noah. Talk a little bit more about Noah later, but outstanding job on the offensive side of the football. Really did a lot of good things also in the special teams. Alton, we'll talk a little more about Alton later as well too. Played defense primarily. Probably would have played offense more, but every time you looked at him, one of his shoulders popped out of place. Whether it be catching a ball or walking to get water or just kind of standing there doing this jazz. And I'll give him the tough kid, man. He'd be like, all right, give me 3 minutes. And he'd stand there and do these weird motions with his arm. And then go, all right, I think I'm ready to go. So he had a heck of a season. season. Logan, next guy in there. I'll give Logan a ton of credit in a lot of different ways here. He wasn't in the first group of guys when we were, doing our offensive line stuff, but he kept working at it, and then we threw him in the game, and through injuries and whatnot, did a really, really nice job. For kids that have improved from week 4 or 5 when you kind of started on the offensive line to the end of the year, Logan was a guy that went 1,000 miles an hour whatever he did. Played super hard, great teammate. Probably drove Kyle nuts being next to him, but they had a good working relationship there. I'll give Logan credit. Every time there was like a block that went well or a block that didn't go so well, he'd be over there doing this, like working on his steps and doing this thing, and it was almost like he didn't have to correct him anymore as the season was going on. He understood it, got better at it, and was a very, very physical player for not being the biggest guy in the world. Really did an outstanding job, and undoubtedly the best cheerleader on the sideline. Gideon did a great job. He worked on the offensive line. Primarily at center, but a lot of different things. Gideon would crack me up when we do a scout team, and he'd be like, "Oh man, I have to pull again." Like if you're pulling, you got to turn to run a long way, so you go there. And like, I don't want to necessarily do that. But I give credit. He worked so hard on his snaps. He got so much better as the season went on through that. It was just another really, really great teammate. We got IC. IC had a real traumatic year. The one practice I had to miss all year long. I get Pearson calling me saying, "Hey, the ambulance is coming to practice. IC is down. He's out of joint or out of place." But man, he battled through it. I've never seen a guy fight with a knee brace more than like. He'd have it on, he'd have it off, he'd have it on again. He would throw it, take it back up, put it back on, throw it again, step on it, kick it, whatever it might be. But obviously, the injury was that's not a fun injury to have. And he battled. I know it was something that bothered him. Throughout the year. But ultimately was a great teammate, never missed a practice, supportive, and always had a lot of wise words for everybody. And what Tristan's thoughts on life were. So we all became wiser, I think, because of that. Jackson was on the move on Jackson. Jackson played guard at a really high level, and was also started on the D line. And then at the end there, we have Mr. Word. Unfortunately, Jacob, had another knee injury, but I'll give him a ton of credit too, man. He battled. The knee was never really feeling right from the beginning of the year, but he battled. I don't know how many times you say, "Coach, I just want to play. I just want to be out there. I just want to help the team." And he did. And unfortunately, this year was cut a little short for him, but he's a hard-working kid and a really, really great teammate. Was another guy that was there all the time, helping out, doing different things that he could. As a group of guys, as juniors, we're really expecting big things for you guys in the future, football-wise and irregardless. Let's give these guys a round of applause. All right, so listen, these guys, these in talk about them all night long. So we'll start start with Quentin here. We'll just give it, for these guys, just kind of give some quick stories, because a lot of them are getting some other awards here later on. These were our senior letter winners. Could not be more proud of a group of young men. As a whole, a very fun group to be around, a very tight group to be around. They were guys that hung out together. Most of you guys, they were able to, really kind of bond in a lot of different ways. And these are guys definitely leaders of our team in a bazillion different aspects. I couldn't be more proud of this group as a whole. Quint played outside backer for us. Hands down the person who talked the most trash out of anybody. And well, I shouldn't say that. Him and Cam Stoutland were pretty close to each other. But Quentin was, he did such a good job, and it's not an easy position to play. He self-proclaimed himself as a top 10 athlete in the school early on in the year, and then so every time a play didn't happen, they would be like, you're not really top 10, maybe top 20, maybe top 50, whatever it might be. Squid did a heck of a job throughout the year. Such a hard-nosed player, and a guy that really improved a lot as his season went on, but also as his career went on. From where Quentin was at as a younger player to where he's at now, the transformation was crazy. Chet's done a lot of good things throughout his career. We'll kind of hit on some of those later. Obviously, as a linebacker, had a phenomenal year. Also caught some passes this year. Chet also had a very high opinion of himself as a receiver. Just throw the ball in my area, coach. I'll catch it. And then as the year went on, he was like, I don't know how much receiver I want to play. I'm going to kind of rotate in and out as we go. And is Chet in the game? No, he's over there getting a drink of water. And I get it. There's a lot going on. One of the things I think with Chet that goes, we've had a really good last year as a special teams. Chet's long snapping is phenomenal. You'll never get a long snapper award in high school for that. Most times nobody knows who the long snapper is unless something really falls apart. But whether it's PAT, whether it's punt, all those, such a high level. There's a lot of work that went into that. So Chet did an outstanding job. Jackson, once again, I can't say enough about Jackson. I'll say this, Chet and Jackson in particular, both of them had ankle injuries throughout the year. And it was really hit or miss a lot of times. Like, Jackson, more Jackson than Chet. What percentage are you? I am 25%. Well, that's not good. And I was like, I think I'm at 60 today. And I'm like, all right, well, at least we're getting there. But these guys battled through a lot of things. Jackson did a wonderful job on offense. We'll kind of talk about things with that later. For a running back wise, he was hard pressed to find somebody with better vision than what he had. And he kind of sneak around and do all sorts of different things with that. Jackson's was hard. It was hard with him to always try to figure out, like, he was silly. I think it's the word that I would say. And a lot of times you wouldn't know if he'd be serious or not. He'd be kind of joking around, kind of half serious. Whether it be a lot of different things. But one thing we discovered this year, this is no offense to any of you guys, Jackson only put one person on the list of anybody on the team that could ever possibly date his sister. Okay? And it was Chet. All the rest of it, no, I don't know what that means, no, Jackson did a great job. One thing I think Jackson, as far as leadership-wise goes, was it did a really good job of, like, when things were falling apart, he was always kind of the voice of reason in the huddle. Very positive to everybody. like his hands had fallen off. Okay? Like he couldn't catch it. He'd come back to the huddle, Drew would yell at him, Aiden would yell at Drew, they'd both yell at each other, Aiden would yell like, hey, get a better pass. Whatever reminder, this is mostly during, well, it's a lot of practice with this, and a lot of yelling back and forth between the two. I'll give Aiden credit, man. Like as a kid who's worked hard, so hard to make himself to where he is. The amount of balls he's caught when nobody's watching, and it just really kind of like made me feel super proud of him. You know, some of the biggest games of the year, that last playoff game in particular, and really throughout his career, some of the catches that he made were just outstanding. You're never going to find some of those catches are as good as what I've ever seen, and it kind of shows to his resiliency going through. Grady, next guy. Okay, so here's my deal with Grady. He never really get a good read on him. He'd always have this kind of like this half smile, half smirk look on his face. You didn't know if he was serious, if he like what you were telling him as a coach, like if he believed you or if he thought you were nuts. But one of the things he always did was played his tail off. He played a position that is not being the biggest guy in the world. He's got to do a lot of different things. Out in coverage, taking on lead blocks, was a guy that continued to push and work and get better and better as the year went on, and really as his career went on. And you know, leadership looks a lot of different ways. I thought Grady's leadership would be pretty silent, but also like leading by example was something that was real beneficial for a lot of people around him. And really had an outstanding career and did an outstanding job this season. Kind of the same thing with Gavin. You know, Gavin was a guy, like after his sophomore year, I didn't know if Gavin was going to play football anymore. He kind of didn't seem really interested in it. And I remember sitting there talking with them. It might have been Coach Pearson and Coach Stepper in there, and he was like, I want to be a good football player. I really like football. And it said, hey, these are some things you have to do to kind of work at it. And I'll be darned, he worked and worked and worked his tail off. And did such a good job with that. Had a really nice season this year in the secondary. And hands down, one of the best face painters that I've lacked in the history of football. Now sometimes he had to take it off. Like in some games the refs wouldn't care, other games we had to take it off. He looked like half smear and a hot mess. But he did a really good job. Aiden was right up there as honorable mention too. Those guys spent a lot of time in front of the mirror, so I like some mascara. I have mascara, I don't know. No, these guys, Gavin did a good job with that. Kyle, we'll talk a little bit more about Kyle's awards later. Kyle had an outstanding season, really a 4-year starter on both sides of the ball. Kyle's one of the smartest football players that I've ever met. As far as understanding scheme, understanding what's going on, understanding what works and what doesn't work. He was also one of the biggest cheerleaders on the field I've ever seen. There was a lot of clapping, a lot of high fives, a lot of talking. Really played at a very, very high level. Really did an outstanding job throughout his career. And you know, I can't say enough about him. Kyle's not the tallest guy in the world. Man, he battled and battled and battled and battled and made play after play after play. Camden, next guy in line there. You know, what I'll say about Cam is kind of the epitome of a team-first player. Did a lot of different things, special teams-wise. A lot of different things offensively this year. Played a position that doesn't get a lot of glory. It's a glorified blocking back. Did a nice job with those different things. I think with Cam, one of the things I always remember, it was a playoff game against, it was against Comanche or Vandals. We got a fumble and you were in the huddle. Yeah. So I watched the Comanche game. I'm like, what's going on here? Like they fumbled the ball like the 15-yard line. defensive huddle in the ref's face going like, we're going this way. We're going this way. Oh, like, you can't really do that thing. But it was funny. It kind of showed, it really showed what kind of camp style was all about. Team first guy. Right up there with Schultz on the amount of, and it was usually Cam and Schultz talking back and forth to each other about different things, but really did a wonderful job. Drew's next line there. Drew had an outstanding season in a lot of different ways. I couldn't be more proud of the growth I thought that Drew made as a leader, as a young man, as a competitor. His maturity from when he first started to the end of the year, or to the end of his senior year, he grew a lot. And his leadership in the huddle, minus when his arm got hurt and he couldn't talk through the fourth quarter of the last game we played, but his leadership, his coachability was off the charts. And I enjoyed, as a person calling a lot of plays and talking with him, like having those conversations about, hey, what do you like, what do you don't like, what do you want to do? And I thought he did a good job of that. There's a lot of funny moments with Drew this year. I remember the one that cracked me up the most was early on in the year where he scored a touchdown and he ran down to celebrate and was going crazy with his teammates, and then he couldn't kick the ball because he was too tired. And I can't do that. I'm like, all right, well, we can take it to late game if you're going to celebrate all you want out there, but he was dead tired, and obviously he's had a wonderful season and a lot more to come. Joe, unfortunately, Joe, kind of like Jacob, had an unfortunate injury throughout this year. Really couldn't get to see what Joe had to offer. But Joe did a wonderful job of being a good teammate, being supportive. These guys all give each other a lot of grief, and I feel like they've done that for a long time in their lives. And it was funny to watch Joe kind of give it back to everybody. Did an outstanding job with this touchdown this year. I was really proud of Joe. He was really nervous about giving a speech. And then he stood up and rocked it out during the Pep assembly. And it was good to see. And then last, at the very end, is Gavin. It was Gavin's first year ever playing football. All right, first year ever playing football. The first week watching Gavin play, big guy, he's strong, he's fast. And then he's just running around like a crazy person. God, where's the we got pass plays, and how many receivers do we have out here? There's Gavin streaking down the field trying to block somebody. The arms were all over the place. He was holding and tackling and doing all these things. And then it was like, bang, the light bulb went out. He asked a lot of questions and got just better. I think it'd be hard pressed to find a better offensive lineman anywhere towards the end of the season. He worked so hard, was so humble with what he did. All of these guys as a group, I couldn't ask for more as a coach, and couldn't ask for more as a group of young men. These guys in particular, we had just gotten drubbed by Regina, and it was not a good game. And the season could went a couple different ways. And you never know. You leave, everybody's mad, and no one knows what's going on. And these guys showed back up on that Monday of the Alley week, and we started district play, and they were ready to work, and they were ready to get better. And that started with these young men up here, and through what they did in practice and what they did during the week, allowed us to get better and better. And these guys out here in front, man, if somebody would, there's a lot of stuff on social media, this and that, people would call people out or this or that or whatnot, but man, they rallied around each other, and then they brought the others with them, and did really good things throughout the year. Let's give these seniors one big round of applause. Hey, this white crew up here, these guys were honored for being academic all-district. To have an academic all-district, I did a cumulative 3.25 GPA going into this year, and to be a member of the football team, Five of these guys, Max, Noah, Brayden, Peyton, and Nathan, all have a 4.0 going right now. There's a lot of other contention up here about Coach Martin ruining some other 4.0s. But these guys, outstanding job in the classroom, outstanding role models for what we ask, really ask all of our students at Mediapolis to do. Like I said, these guys are a big part of helping our team GPA be what it is. Let's give them a big round of applause. These two guys were honored as being honorable mention all district. Obviously, throughout the whole process, you nominate guys, other coaches vote. Okay, I don't necessarily agree with all the votes that happen, but I get one of 6 votes. These guys, outstanding job throughout the season, whether it be offense, whether it be defense, whether it be special teams. Very deserving of this award. Let's give them a round of applause. All right. Okay, these guys were honored through our district as being first team all district defense and special teams. For Drew, obviously they had did an outstanding job throughout the season. One of the things, we have updated our top 10 list throughout the year, and some of these guys were able to crack the top 10 list in some things. Other guys were able to kind of work their way to different spots. Grady was tied for third. There's a long list of people, but 2 fumble recoveries in the season. He's tied for third with that. Quentin was number 10 in school history for single season tackles for loss, was 16 and a half. We'll kind of get to some of these other ones a little bit later. These guys, outstanding job defensively. Kyle and Quentin were nominated on the line. Alton and Chet at linebacker, Grady for defensive back, and Drew for punter. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, these young men were nominated for offensive first team. Jackson Woods at offensive line, Gavin Hallgren offensive line, Jackson Hutchinson running back, Aiden and Noah at receiver. These guys had an outstanding season as far as top 10s go. Jackson was number 10 all time, single season rush yards, number 2 in season rushing touchdowns, and also number 6 in career INTs. He thinks he had another one. Oh, he's got to prove it before we just add one more to the list. Aiden was number 9 in career receiving yards, and number 10 in career receiving touchdowns. And then Noah, number 7 in single season punt return yards, number 8 punt return average, number 2 in single season punt return touchdowns, and career punt return touchdowns, and also number 10 in single season kickoff returns. Did an outstanding job catching the ball, running the ball in the backfield, kind of a utility deal, and also on the special teams. Let's give these guys a big round of applause. Okay. Kyle, along with being nominated as all-district, and in my opinion, got completely hosed on linebacker was Kyle set a single season tackles for loss school record with 25 this year, and also set the career tackles for loss with 57 throughout his career. A lot of good football players that Kyle passed up along the way, and is very deserving of those awards. Really had an outstanding season. That's the problem. All right, Chet's next line. Okay, Chet was voted as the 2023 defensive MVP of our district. Okay, and Chet also set the career tackles mark at Mediapolis with 280 and a half tackles throughout his high school career. Congratulations, Chet. Bypassed both of his brothers, and that was a plaque to show throughout there. And lastly, Drew, we have a lot of different records here, so we'll read through them. Career punt yards, single season punting average, career punting average, career point afters made, single season PAT percentage, and career PAT percentage. All school records for Drew. Obviously, did an outstanding job throughout the season, throughout his career. A very, there's a lot of work that goes into being able to do what he's done. And I think we're all, very proud of what he's been able to do, and excited to see what happens in the future. Let's give all these guys a big round. All right, so we don't have certificates yet for this. These four young men will be recognized as 2A academic all-state football players as well. Outstanding job in the classroom. To have this, you have to have above 3.75 GPA to be and you have to be an all-district football player as well with that. Once again, you can't say enough about what these guys have been on the field and in the classroom. Let's get that round of applause. As we get going through here, there will be more awards. There will be all-state, all Hawkeye, there will be other different awards that come up throughout the year. Once again, a very outstanding and deserving group of seniors that really did a lot of things to help make Mediapolis football what it is. Couldn't be more proud of them as a whole. All of them unique individuals, but collectively really came together and did something special this year. To our younger guys, okay, thank you a ton for all that you've done. The future is bright. Keep working hard. Most importantly, thank you to all you guys that came out and supported tonight. Thank you to all of you that have been so supportive throughout the year. Okay, we are truly blessed to have the community that we do. We're truly blessed to have the parents we do. We're definitely blessed to have the student athletes that we have. And we're excited to see what the future holds. And with that, we are done. Thank you.